Tony Tone Show on Vintage Sound 93.1 FM. He is the master of impersonating people, famous people, politicians, you name it. He's probably got a voice for him. Rich Little on the MPW Digital TV Celebrity Hotline. He's written a book, Little by Little, People I've Known and Been, and you can see him 5 nights a week at the Tropicana in Las Vegas. Let's grab Rich over here. Rich Little.
How are you?
I'm doing so good, man. Welcome to the show. You're on the radio in the great state of Iowa right now, and I think that's pretty cool because were you friends with John Wayne? How did you know John Wayne, Rich? I want to start off with that.
I knew John Wayne a few benefits that I was involved in that he was there.
Yeah.
And I met him the first time when he appeared on Laugh-In in the 70s. And they had him dressed up in a bunny costume. And so when I met John Wayne for the first time, he was a rabbit. And I don't know what they were doing with him, you can imagine.
Yeah.
But they did a lot of silly things on Laugh-In. And then he got out of the rabbit outfit, and then I shook his hand and we talked a bit, and then I was leaving, and he said to me, "Little, before you leave this studio, show me how I do my walk. I'm losing it." So I had to show John Wayne how to do his walk in front of all these people. I did John Wayne's walk for him, right across the set.
Oh.
He looked at me, and when I finished, he looked up and said, "Well, hell, I've been walking like Loretta Young for 50 years."
Oh, my gosh. It's amazing.
He was a great guy, larger than life, very nice.
Yeah.
I heard, some things about him. He could be a little rough on this, but
Right.
he loved the fact that I impersonated him. And when that happens with a celebrity, you have a great in. They respect you or admire you, for imitating them,
I love it.
Compliment, I guess.
And John Wayne, originally from Iowa, and went on to be just so successful. So, yes, Rich Little, the book, we got to mention that, Little by Little, People I've Known and Been. So I'm a fan, and I'm certainly not as talented as you are, but I've been able over the years to kind of hear people talk, and then I can kind of mimic it back. And I don't know if that's just, what do you think does it for you? Is it that you have a great sense of hearing, and then you can hear some of the vocal qualities?
You have to have a good ear, and preferably two of them. But I started imitating teachers. Actually, that's how I started. Mm-hmm. Yeah, imitating teachers, and I knew I was going to get into show business because it wasn't long before the teachers were charging a 2-drink minimum and a cover charge.
Oh, that is so great. Yep.
That's how I started doing teachers, yeah.
So you've done so many different voices over the years, and you say that John Wayne appreciated it. And the cliche question is, has there been a celebrity who you have impersonated that did not find it entertaining when you met him?
I can think of one right off the top of my head. Paul Lynde from Hollywood Squares.
Really?
Hated my impression. I mean, really hated it. The looks. And I would do them a lot, back in the 70s on Dean Martin roasts and on Hollywood Squares. And every time I would do them, he would, the camera would go to him and he'd look into the camera and say, "How's he doing? That's disgusting. Get a day job." Oh, God. I mean, he just didn't like it. And, everybody else was laughing, but Paul, I don't know, he was a little strange, but he was funny,
I love it.
But he had a drinking problem, and sometimes, after the dinner break when we're taping Hollywood Squares, they'd have to strap him into the chair, and because he was out of it, and he was still funny.
Oh my
Drunk or sober, this man was always funny. The things he came out with. Paul, can you get an elephant drunk? Oh, sure, but you'll never get it up to your apartment.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I definitely remember that guy. He always seemed like a character.
No, he didn't like it at all.
That's amazing.
And Tony Randall. Do you remember Tony Randall from The Odd Couple?
Absolutely.
He didn't like my impression either. Tony used to say to me, "Rich, your impression of me, you've missed it completely because I have perfect pitch. I don't know what that meant, but he didn't particularly care for it. But Tony was a little pompous, you know. But every time I saw him, he'd say, "Saw you again, try to do me, and it was pathetic." You know. Can't win them all. The one that liked my impression best of all the people I've worked with is Reagan.
I was going to say
Reagan was terrific.
So Ronald Reagan, who, and I don't know if you know this, Rich, but he grew up not too far from here in Sterling, Illinois, and a unique voice. So and I know that you talk about this in the book, Little by Little, People I've Known in Ben's. Ronald Reagan really enjoyed it, didn't he?
Oh, he was my biggest fan.
Yeah.
I mean, when we get together, I mean, he wanted me to do impressions and give him jokes, and he just loved to laugh, you know. And I spent many a time at the White House listening to him talk about movies, and he was a very down-to-earth person, and as I said, he had a great sense of humor.
And
you know?
And I wonder because so many people will try and do a Reagan. What's the key, in your opinion, to capturing a good Ronald Reagan impression?
Well, you know, I remember meeting somebody on his staff even before he became president, and I was thinking about imitating him. And this member of the staff said, "You've got to start every sentence off with, well." And that was the first thing I did with Reagan, because everything was, well, and then he'd start to talk, you know. And the other thing was he always looked down. He'd go, well, and then he'd look down and then look up. And I noticed that, and I asked him about that. I said, "Mr. President, why do you always look down before you speak?" And you know what he said to me? He said, "Well, Rich, you'd look down, too, if you owned a horse ranch."
That makes total sense that he said that. I love it. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
These stories...
He was always thinking funny. He was always trying to be funny, and he was funny. That's the thing about Reagan. I think Reagan became president because he had charm. Mm-hmm. You know? People liked him.
Absolutely. Lot of charisma with that guy.
Now people are looking at Donald Trump, and they're entertained by him. You know, a lot of people just want to see him go off and say stupid things. It's entertaining, you know. Maybe not good for the country, but entertaining, you know.
Oh, Rich Little, the book, Little by Little, People I've Known in Ben. Rich Little at the Tropicana in Las Vegas, 5 nights a week. Definitely want to get out and see that. So, yeah, that's the last question, right? You've done different impersonations of presidents throughout the years. Do you now, because you have an Obama, Rich, do you have to start working on a Donald Trump?
Oh, yeah. Well, a lot of people can look like him.
Right.
You know, that's easy. The voice is tough.
Yeah.
I'm working on it, but, you know, I mean, visually, a lot of people do them. It's different. When he's shouting, it's different, and then when he's talking softly, it's different. I'll get him down, because what I'll do is I'll really concentrate on it.
There you go.
I haven't heard anybody do them really bang on yet, you know.
Well, maybe Rich Little will be the first one to do it. I want to say thank you so much for the time. Everybody listening, Rich Little, the book, Little by Little, People I've Known in Ben, available now.
It's on Amazon. It's on Amazon, and if they haven't gotten the bookstores, ask them for it.
Absolutely.
That'd be great.
Yeah, Rich.
And then I'll come down and put a number of them in the store. You know, I'll bring them down in boxes.
Oh, I appreciate that. Listen, we can't wait to see you, and we'll get everybody to pick up the book, and we'll see you in Vegas at the Tropicana. Thank you so much for the time, sir.
Great. You're welcome.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.